You're very powerful, but you've been convinced that you're powerless. You're not. You're very, very powerful. If you could just get that idea into your head, that you are an incredibly powerful being. But they've convinced us we're nothing, we're just nobody, there's nothing you can do, you know. You're insignificant, you know. This idea has been reinforced in us. Nobody tells us that we're powerful, that we can do anything we set our mind to do. I want to show you, you don't know anything about this. I'm going to make an Orgone generator out of this. Do you recognize it? That's the rotor from a $2,000 vacuum cleaner motor. I had a fellow from whom I bought a very expensive vacuum cleaner, and he was building them in Richmond here, so I got to know him. I used to pop by and talk to him all the time. And one day he said, he had several boxes of these motors, rotors. He says, can you use them? I said, I don't know. I'll have to experiment. He said, we sourced these motors from a company, and the quality of the rotors wasn't good enough for our expensive vacuum cleaner motors. They kept breaking down in less than a year. When you're paying over $2,000 for a vacuum cleaner, you don't want it to break down in less than a year. So they have to stop using those and go back to, I don't know if this is Bosch and Lomb, an American company, I think. Now, it occurred to me that if I built an Orgone generator with that in it, plus that much metal and crystals buried in it as well, not just this alone, in a pyramid, that this is going to be a very powerful Orgone generator, because the energy seeks to go through the coiled wire. That's all copper. And I had to improvise by adding this glass piece here. I put that in there. I don't know how I came across that. I need a flat surface. I need to have it stand and not touch the side of the pyramid anywhere. I can do it with this, but I have to figure out some other way if I do some more of those. I used to make them about 10 years ago, and I didn't make too many of them, but every time I made one, they immediately sold. Immediately sold, and they were always fairly large ones, you know, and quite heavy. But for some reason, people like the looks of them. They've never seen anything like it, you know. So I'm working on building one of these days. When I get sufficiently inspired, I'll build one of these, and I hope it'll turn out, because a lot of effort and work in resin goes into building one of those. You really hope that it does turn out. I thought I'd just mention that as an aside. Yeah, I ordered shungite a while back, and now I'm starting to put it in most of my OGs. In the metal matrix and all of that I make, I put shungite now. There are many stories about shungite, but essentially they've marketed shungite as treating water in a beneficial way. So you put shungite stone in a gallon or in a container and let it sit there, and the energy that comes off the shungite crystal goes into the water. And again, I think it has something to do with the hydrogen bond angle again. We're just discovering that. So people drink the water with the shungite stones in it, and they're getting the additional beneficial energy that's been ingrained in that water.
The steel and the brass?
At the foundry?
Yeah, but he said, do they supply online because people want to buy from them?
No, you don't want to do that. The shipping would kill you, first of all. This stuff is very heavy, very heavy. The best thing is go find some machine shops in your area. There's all kinds of metal workers. Ask around. Where is there a machine shop? Where are they doing lathing work? You know, steel, aluminum. And go around with a bucket and ask if you could have some of the shavings that they sweep up on the floor. Don't go order it. No, don't do that. The shipping is prohibitive. Find some machine shops. Ask some people if they know anybody who does lathe work, metal lathe work, machine shops. You know, they're everywhere. You know, it's just a matter of finding them and explain to them what it is you're doing. And most of the guys are okay. You know, they're not going to turn you away. Not likely. You know, the odd person might, but most of them, they want to be nice guys and give you a bucket of half a bucket. You can make lots of OGs. Go to a thrift shop and buy yourself a $15 mixer, juice mixer, you know, and tear up some aluminum foil and make your own metal. And it's very nice. It works beautifully. I make my, I've used it in some of my chakra OGs, you know.
I just started making OGs, and all of your insight is very helpful, and thank you for sharing your many blessings to you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I wish more people would make their own OGs. It will help them in so many different ways. They have no idea what working with this energy and just doing it, getting to the point of, okay, I'm going to make it. And stop worrying about making a perfect piece or something. You can't go wrong. You cannot make an incorrect OG. It may be ugly, it may not be beautiful, but it's an OG and it's functional and it works. You can't make a mistake. Children can make it, you know? If you have children, get them involved too. And stop worrying about making beautiful ones now. Just get to the point where you're actually making your own little tower busters, mini busters. And then, as you keep doing that, you will get inspired to do other things. Don't worry about that, it'll come. But just make a start. It's important to make a start. You can't go wrong, you can't mess up. It's easy to do. See, when you're dealing with energy in the form of OGs, energy comes in many different ways. You can get energy by just being around a person who's optimistic and happy and smiling. If you're in a person who's generating that friendliness, that openness, that truthfulness, you're going to be affected by that rather than somebody who's negative and is depressed and down and negative all the time. You're going to be affected by that too, unless you guard against that. But energy is everywhere. You can't say that there's good energy and there's bad energy, but energy is everywhere. It's part of the universe, and that's why Orgone is everywhere. You can't say that any place where there isn't Orgone. It's everywhere. What we do is we concentrate the Orgone that's everywhere, we concentrate it into an OG. And then it does its work. It sucks in the EMFs, the dirty electricity, the negative stuff. The resin attracts it, the metal repulses it. It's high frequency, unbalanced, chaotic energy. And when you put crystals inside this matrix, the crystals have this amazing transformative ability to take this chaotic, unbalanced energy and balance and smooth it out. And now what comes out of an Orgone generator is the kind of stuff that all living things want more of. Grass, pets, humans, everything that's alive wants more of this energy because we have too much of one and not enough of the other. And as you come into balance, everything works better. Everything works better. And that's why you have people who have never said hi to you for years, suddenly one day after you introduce Orgone generators into the area, because it's, you know, a little Dixie cup will spread for hundreds of feet away from you. So it's going to, obviously it's going to affect your neighbor, and usually in a positive way. And he'll end up saying hi to you, and he's never said hi to you, and you're astonished, you know, what's happened? Well, you know what's happened. It's the energy has affected him beneficially. And that's what we want to do. We want to put out good energy and get people being less depressed and less anxious and come into their power. That's the object. Come into your power. You're very powerful, but you've been convinced that you're powerless. You're not. You're very, very powerful. If you could just get that idea into your head, that you are an incredibly powerful being. But they've convinced us we're nothing, we're just nobody, there's nothing you can do, you know. You're insignificant, you know. This idea has been reinforced in us. Nobody tells us that we're powerful, that we can do anything we set our mind to do. Nobody encourages us to do that. We need more of that encouraged, especially children. You know, they're open, they're still open. They haven't been set in concrete yet with the reality of the grown-up world. Most of it negative, most of it not useful. But children are an open book. That's why they gravitate towards this energy. They don't understand it, but they feel it, and they enjoy being around it. We should all learn from children, you know?
Yeah. How do I know have to be 50-50 ratio?
Forget about that. We're talking about people who are anal about these measurements and these quantities. There's no such thing. No such thing. There's a lot of literature that says in order for an Orgone generator to work, you should have a ratio of 50% metal and 50% resin, okay? If you don't do that, well, you're wasting your time and your money. Forget that. It's not true. Try it yourself. Don't believe everything that you read. You know, that's somebody's idea. Yes, fine. It's just like saying, okay, the only Orgone generator that works is if you get fine metal powder. High density, finest metal powder. Yeah, I can agree that that would be the best to make Orgone generators with. But where are you going to source fine metal powder in the quantities that I would need to make those? It's not viable. So do the next best thing. Do with what you have, what you can get your hands on. That is the secret. Don't worry about these ratios. It's not true. You can prove that to yourself. Just do with whatever you have. I've made Orgone generators that are 80% resin and 20% metal. All I need is the 20% metal matrix into which I can bury 15 or 20 different small crystals. Okay? That's all that's required. The rest 80% I can work on aesthetics, making it beautiful. And I can ramp up the energy by using 4 coils. So there's ways around that. So don't get stuck in the 50-50. That'll slow you down. That'll stop you in your tracks if you do that. It's not true.
She said we got here 38 degrees sometimes in summer.
If it gets hot enough, and should your Orgone generator crack, smile. Can't hurt it, can't destroy it. Crack, so the heat, so nature took its course. Can't destroy an Orgone generator. It may not be intact. Crack won't stop it. Maybe a little unsightly and less than perfect, but it's still a functioning Orgone generator. It won't detract from its ability to do its work. Don't worry about it. It likes the sun anyway. Try and see if you can get the sun to crack one.